What if I told you that the concept of the Jewish people is not a monolith, but a diverse tapestry of ethnicities, geographies, and even races? That any two Jewish people can have astonishingly different histories, cultures, and even genetic structures. Within the rich tapestry of the Jewish people, there are communities from Ethiopia, known as Beta Israel. There are the Mizrahi people from the Middle East and Persia, and many other groups. Among them, the two largest and most influential branches on the global stage are the Ashkenazi and Sephardic Jews. Their names echo through history, evoking different lands, different languages, and different faiths. But what truly defines them? What separates them? And what, at the deepest level, connects them? Over the next 10 minutes, we will embark on a journey across millennia. We will begin by exploring their two divergent historical paths. Then, we will do something their ancestors never could: open up the human genome and read the secrets encoded in their DNA. Finally, we will see how the echoes of the past remain vibrant in their culture, faith, and daily lives today. This is more than a history lesson. It is a story of survival, faith, and identity.
First, let's explore the foundational similarity that unites them: their shared ancestral origin. Both historical and genetic studies have reached a consensus. Both groups descend from the ancient Israelite populations of the Levant, the region of modern-day Israel and its surroundings. The historical event that catalyzed this great dispersal was the destruction of the Second Temple in Jerusalem in 70 CE by the Romans, forcing Jewish people to scatter across the globe. The clearest evidence lies in their paternal lineage. Analysis of the Y chromosome shows that men from both communities share common genetic markers unique to the Middle East, most notably the J1 and J2 haplogroups. A haplogroup is essentially a genetic clan, allowing us to trace ancestry back thousands of years. The fact that both groups share these genetic clans is powerful proof that no matter where they later traveled, they both sprang from the same ancient tree in the Middle East.
Now we examine the first major point of difference, their two divergent historical journeys. The journey of the Ashkenazi people was northward. Their name comes from Ashkenaz, the medieval Hebrew word for Germany and northern France. They settled along the Rhine Valley and later migrated eastward into Poland, Lithuania, Ukraine, and Russia. Here, in often hostile Christian societies, they were frequently forced to live in isolated communities known as shtetls. These were more than just villages. They were self-contained worlds with their own synagogues, religious schools, yeshivas, and legal systems. This isolation, while a burden, inadvertently acted as an incubator, preserving and fostering a dense and resilient Jewish culture. In contrast, the journey of the Sephardic people was southward, to the Iberian Peninsula, or Sepharad. They arrived very early on, and under Muslim rule, they entered a golden age that lasted for centuries. Unlike the insular shtetls, Sephardic Jews lived in cosmopolitan and multicultural cities like Córdoba, Toledo, and Granada. They were poets, doctors, philosophers, and even ministers in royal courts. This was the era of convivencia, coexistence, a time of profound intellectual exchange between Jewish, Muslim, and Christian scholars. This golden age, however, ended abruptly and tragically. When Christian monarchs reconquered Spain, they issued the Alhambra Decree in 1492. Jews were forced to make a choice: convert, leave, or die. Hundreds of thousands chose exile, beginning the great Sephardic diaspora.
They carried their heritage to the Ottoman Empire, North Africa, the Balkans, and Amsterdam, seeding their culture across the Mediterranean and beyond. Next, let's see how these different histories forged two unique cultures, most notably in their language and food. The language of the Ashkenazi people is Yiddish. It is a Germanic language using the Hebrew alphabet, with its grammar and basic vocabulary derived from medieval German, but enriched by countless loanwords from Hebrew, Aramaic, and Slavic languages. Yiddish was the soul of the shtetl world, the medium for its literature, theater, comedy, and daily life. Meanwhile, the language of the Sephardic people is Ladino, or Judeo-Spanish. It is a Romance language based on the Old Spanish of the 15th century, also written in Hebrew characters. It preserves the language of Spain from before the expulsion, blended with elements of Hebrew, Arabic, and Turkish. Ladino folk songs have carried their stories, their nostalgia, and their history through the generations. This difference is just as apparent in their cuisine. Ashkenazi cuisine is a cuisine of survival. It reflects the necessity of preserving food through long, harsh winters. Its signature dishes often involve pickling, like cucumbers and herring, smoking, and hearty stews using available ingredients like potatoes, carrots, and cabbage. Rendered chicken fat, or schmaltz, was used in place of more expensive oils. In contrast, Sephardic cuisine is a symphony of Mediterranean flavors. It is full of sunshine, reflecting the richness of the land and an openness to trade routes. It features an abundance of olive oil, fresh vegetables like eggplant and tomatoes, chickpeas, and aromatic spices like saffron, cumin, and cinnamon. Dishes like tagine, shakshuka, and complex pastries demonstrate a completely different culinary heritage.
Let's now turn to the scientific evidence and explore the fascinating story told by their DNA. The paternal lineage, as we've discussed, is shared, but the genetic story becomes far more complex when we look at the maternal line and overall genetic makeup. Mitochondrial DNA, which is passed down from mother to child, has unveiled a remarkable truth. The maternal lineage of Sephardic Jews largely maintains a strong continuity with populations in the Middle East and North Africa. However, a very significant portion, about 40 to 50% of the maternal lineage of Ashkenazi Jews, originates from prehistoric and medieval European women. This means that as the first Jewish migrants, mostly men, arrived in Europe, they partnered with local women who then converted to Judaism and integrated into the community. Their children became the founding generations of the Ashkenazi people. Furthermore, their history of isolation and persecution created a genetic bottleneck. The Ashkenazi population was, at times, reduced to just a few hundred founding individuals. Most Ashkenazi Jews today descend from this small group, which explains why they share a higher degree of genetic similarity with each other and why certain genetic diseases are more common among them. These differences also manifest in the way they practice their shared faith, through distinct rituals and religious traditions. Their prayer styles are different. Ashkenazi Jews follow the Nusach Ashkenaz rite, with melodies that are often formal and solemn. Sephardic Jews follow the Nusach Sephardic rite, famous for its flowing, melodious, and participatory tunes. Even sacred objects are treated differently. In Ashkenazi synagogues, the Torah scroll is typically stored upright. In Sephardic synagogues, it is laid down horizontally in an ornate case. The Ashkenazi prayer shawl, or tallit, is traditionally black and white striped, while the Sephardic tallit is often pure white with silver or gold embroidery. One of the most famous differences occurs during Passover. Ashkenazi Jews traditionally refrain from eating kitniyat, a category of foods that includes rice, corn, and legumes, due to historical concerns in Europe about cross-contamination. For Sephardic Jews, who lived in lands where these foods were staples, this ban never existed. Finally, we look at how the tragedies of the 20th century shaped their modern identities and what their dual legacy means today. The Ashkenazi people were the primary victims of the Holocaust. This genocide murdered 6 million Jews and annihilated the entire shtetl world of Eastern Europe, a historical trauma that has profoundly shaped modern Ashkenazi identity. Meanwhile, Sephardic Jews faced a different tragedy. In the mid-20th century, following the establishment of the State of Israel, hundreds of thousands of Sephardic and Mizrahi Jews were forced to flee the homelands they had inhabited for centuries in Arab and Muslim countries. Today, due to historical migration patterns, Ashkenazi culture is often more visible in Western media. However, a powerful cultural renaissance is underway to celebrate and preserve the rich heritage of Sephardic Jews. In the end, we see that from the same root, they grew into two distinct branches. Their story is not one of competition for authenticity, but of diversity in unity. They are two powerful testaments to the resilience and adaptability of a people, all while holding on to the invisible thread of a common heritage and a shared faith.